Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. For today's lesson, we will discuss about the 7 communication barriers. Communication barriers occurs when there is a wrong perception of the message by the receiver. So, we will discuss what are those 7 communication barriers. So, the first communication barrier that we have here is emotional barrier. Emotional barrier is the wall that you created that prevents you from opening your feelings and thoughts to others. For example, we have here a young girl and she could not focus with her studies because before going to school, she was scolded by her mom. For number 2, we have here the cultural barriers from the word culture. So as you can see, we have differences in our culture. And because of that, it creates sometimes misunderstanding, inconveniences, and difficulties in delivering your message. For example, we have here 2 persons and it is their first time to meet with one another. So certainly this man here could be coming from Japan and that is their way of meeting a new person. And this woman here is extending her hand for a handshake because that is their way to meet a new person. But in some other countries like India, shaking hands is a sign of disrespectful. For the third one, we have the gender barrier. So basically, this is disagreements between men and women. So why does this thing happen? Because sometimes for a man and for a woman, they have this stereotyping or unfair treatment with one another. For example, for men, they will look to women as a weak persona. On the other hand, for women, they would say that men are arrogant. So because of that, it creates a gender barrier. For the fourth one, we have the interpersonal barrier. So when we say interpersonal barrier, it is a barrier that is created within yourself. So it could be like when you were shy, when you have poor listening skills, or limited vocabulary. So that is an example of interpersonal barrier. Language barrier for number 5 is a linguistic barrier. For example, when the speaker is using figurative language or highfalutin words, sometimes the listener could not understand the message well. So that is an example of a language barrier. For number 6, we have the perceptual barrier. It is from the word perception. That means it is how we perceive people. So sometimes we cannot deny that we already created some filters in our mind to specific persons, specific events, or specific situations. For the last communication barrier, we have the physical barrier. This is an environmental or natural barrier that prevents us from sending information to other person. For example, we have here a couple and they want to talk to their neighbor who is actually playing a guitar. And because of that wall between them, they could not really understand each other. So that is an example of a physical barrier. So that ends my lesson for this time. I hope that you learned something from me. See you in my next video. Bye-bye!